Hello, established guests of the Disney Court. If you know me, and I'd be very surprised since this channel has pretty much been dead for the last 7 months. And if you are one of the lovely people who still subscribe to me after all this time, why? But lovely people of the Disney Court, we aren't here to talk about my extended leave. We are here to talk about my client, Miss Snow White. Snow White is a story originating from Germany, first documented in the early 19th century by the Brothers Grimm. This is back when stories used to be a lot darker than they used to be, and when stories were meant as warnings or teachings for children, like Little Red Riding Hood about lying in bed with strange men, or Rattenfänger about paying your dues. And if you don't know those stories, please go check out the originals. They are amazing. This is also back when stories didn't shy away from violence, lust, or darker themes, since they pretty much believed that children were just tiny adults in shorts. And trust me, the original story is a lot darker. Now, with that out of the way, on February 4th, 1938, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was released in theaters across the United States. But before we can go any further into why my client is on trial, we must go over the plot. The plot goes as, and I'm just summarizing the movie here, since the original story is a lot different. The evil queen asks a magic mirror if she's prettier than everyone else. And no, I don't want to say the famous line in I Just Got Back, and I don't want Disney to beat me with the copyright stick. Even though I don't think it's their line, I'm not going to test it. So the evil queen, who's threatened by a literal child, decides, well, that just won't do, and instead is kind of going to therapy or talking out her problems with her best friend over a cup of tea. She's going to delete Snow White. No, I'm not going to say the actual D word or M word, because again, I just got back. But instead of putting our big girl blouse, she decides that instead of deleting Snow White herself, she's going to let a man do it. So while Snow White is out in the meadow, So while Snow White is out in the meadow, the huntsman takes out his knife and tells Snow White he's got to cut out her heart. I just love arts and crafts. But of course, pesky Moral, having a conscience, gets in the way, and he lets Snow go. And you know what? This is unrelated, but the scene where Snow White runs through the dark woods is just amazing. It's literally a cinematic masterpiece. Go check it out. After having a healthy dose of trauma, Snow White does what we all do after a mental breakdown. She hyperfixates on singing. And of course, the animals take pity on her and love her voice so much that they take her to a cabin to have a nap. Okay, I mean, breaking and entering is bad, but my client is not on here for breaking and entering. She at least knocked and looked through the windows. That has to count for something. And while she's there, she decides that she's going to clean after them because they are tiny chairs and it's extremely dusty in there, so she thinks literal children were there. But wait, there's a twist. But wait, oh no, this house belongs to 7 little men with gimmicks! The horror! Now you know the names: Jock, Happy, Sleepy, Bashful, Sneezy, and my personal favorite, Grumpy. And, am I allowed to say this? Okay, I think I'm allowed to say it. And Dopey. Oh, and by the by, I know saying dwarfs isn't socially acceptable to say anymore, so I apologize, but from this point in the video on, I'm going to be calling them dwarves, as in the D&D kind. Roll initiative. But after that failed deleted attempt, Snow White explains her situation, and instead of kicking her out, they decide to make a deal. She just has to cook them delicious meals, and they will let her stay. They even offer up their beds in order to make her feel comfortable. Snow decides that this is completely better than being deleted. This is a complete win-win. After some time, I'm pretty sure this movie takes place in like 3 days tops, but all good things must come to an end, with the evil queen discovering that she has been duped. And you know what? You can never trust a man to do a woman's job, so the evil queen disguises herself as an ugly elderly woman. Ooh, symbolism. Now the ugliness on the inside matches the ugliness on the outside. Which, side tangent, the reason why Snow is such an iconic character is because not only is she beautiful and kind, but also innocent. She's supposed to be the standard of what society looks for in a female role model. You see Katniss from the Hunger Games, to a lesser extent, Rey from Star Wars, and insert any manic pixie dream girl's name here. And as for the evil queen, she is old, jaded, something that humanity should frown upon. That's why society, especially for young women and girls, are afraid to get old. And with some pushing from beauty influencers and marketing campaigns, you have children as young as 5 doing self-care routines with oils, face masks, and cleansers, and it's ruining their skin. I'll admit, I'm a hypocrite. I'm 22, using face creams, oils, and ice rollers to get rid of the bags under my eyes and clear my skin of zits and blackheads. It's because I want to feel good about myself. I'm trying to heal scars on my face from picking at acne. But kids don't start getting those until they hit puberty. They don't need it. Society has put a lot of pressure on women and girls to look good for their age. Heck, look even younger if you can. Now, I'm not here to judge. Do what you gotta do in order to make yourself a better you, as long as you're not hurting anybody or yourself. Okay, side tangent over. The evil queen takes a delicious poison apple, lovingly called Sleeping Death, to the cottage. Snow White clearly forgot about stranger danger when she decides to take a bite out of the tasty treat because she drops to the ground harder than a sack of potatoes. The dwarves find their pseudo-daughter asleep because we remembered the movie wrong. No wonder they didn't want to put her in a coffin. She's pretty much just asleep, not dead. She's just pulling a Sleeping Beauty over here. So they decide to put her in a glass box instead. Still creepy, but oh well, we're moving on. Soon Prince Charming stumbles across her, not knowing the situation, I hope. Decides to plant a smooch on her, which magically wakes her up. Snow White is so happy that she decides to marry him, and off into the sunset they go. Oh, and the evil queen gets deleted off screen, I guess. Cute, simple, but for modern day people, problematic, and I understand why. Mention of child deletion, and unconsensual smooches, and hinting at underage marriage. She's 14. But in my professional opinion, I believe my client has been wrongly accused for not being suitable for children and families any longer. And might I just say, people of the Disney court, how dare you judge my client on such shallow claims? Firstly, I would like to start with the history behind this film. Yes, I know it's a little late, but you know what? We gotta cover all of our bases. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is the first fully animated movie to release all across America during the Great Depression and quickly grossed $8 million. It was also re-released for the first time during 1944 in the Great World War. Well, World War II. And damn, I don't even have $8 in my bank account right now. $8 million? Disney, would you like to pass some of that over? Okay, and for my second point is Community. Okay, I know it sounds cheesy, but let's be honest. Since the world shut down in 2020, instead of Community, it's always been about you and your family. And now more than ever, I believe that we need to be kind to each other. When the dwarves find out that Snow White is in danger, they are risking their lives in keeping her safe, only asking that she lift her weight around the house. By accounts, that's perfectly reasonable. If you were staying at someone's house, you would offer to help. Or if you were having a roommate situation, I'd assume you would share chores. Like for me, I clean the cat boxes and mow the front lawn for my family, as well as mopping the floors and taking out the compost and recycling whenever my sister asks me to. And what better time to make this video than the end of Pride Month and Men's Mental Health Month. Sorry for cutting it so close, everyone. To quickly wrap things up, as for Snow White's personality, she's soft-spoken, girlish, and very much a dreamer. And these qualities in young girls and boys do exist. And there is nothing wrong with that. We should be aspiring dreamers and girlish behaviors in children. We should be happy to see our young girls and boys dancing around in skirts and loving the color pink, unabashedly, learning how to cook and clean for themselves so they know how to be independent. However, in modern day, women are supposed to be strong and someone who needs no man. And you know what? I agree. Not every woman or femme-presenting person needs a man to be happy, but it shouldn't be villainized for wanting security or have someone to love them. Everyone wants to be loved by someone. And I didn't remember this until I rewatched the movie, but Snow is a little sassy. She refuses to feed the dwarves until they wash their hands. And you know what? We get a cute little song and dance about it. Snow is an optimist. And considering that this was released in the Great Depression and first released in World War II, that's pretty much what the country and the world needed at the time. Snow White might be a product of her time, but you know what? She brought hope to the people who enjoyed her movie. Oh, and there's something I forgot to mention. This wasn't true love's first kiss. This was love's first kiss. So someone who either loved her or she loves them and could give her a smooch and it would wake her up. I don't know where we got true love's first kiss from, But by all means, watch the movie, see for yourself. Still a little weird, but to the prince's defense, and I know I'm coming to his defense, have you ever kissed a deceased person goodbye? I have. It's not pleasant, but it really wasn't for that person. It was for me. It was a final goodbye from me to them. So if you look at it from that point, and in considering that he thought she was deceased, it kind of makes sense. But people of the Disney court, that's all I have for you today. Remember, this is just my opinion. And as for my client, Miss Snow White, consider this Disney princess defended. Bye!